this is Bethany. Welcome back to my channel, and today I am doing this Constellation Celestial inspired look that was actually inspired by Lithium Snow, who is like a wig makeup god. So I will have him linked below. If you want to see how I got this look, then keep on watching. Starting with a fully foundationed face, I'm going to begin with the NYX Jumbo Pencil in Black Bean. And I'm just going to be loosely swiping this around one side of my face. This is going to be a bit of a base for some of the eyeshadows we're using. And you'll see I'm going in a contour-like shape and then blending it out with a Real Techniques sponge. We're mainly focusing on the left side of our face. I wanted to get a little artsy that way, but you could do your whole face with this look. And if you wanted to, you could use maybe like a purple or dark blue instead of a black. I just saw that Lithium Snow used a black, so I wanted to do it too. Now that we've gotten a bit strong with our contour, we're going to use the Makeup Geek Power Pigments, and this is the teal one. And I've said before in a previous video that these are a little bit tricky to work with, the cool tone shades. The bluish ones are a bit more patchy, but I'm still going to use them because I like this particular teal. I'm going to stop what I'm doing here and prime my eyelid, and this is just the CoverGirl Eyelid Primer. It's a good idea to go all around the eye. I'm not so sure I did, but there you go. And then you can see already that eyeshadow behaves a lot better when it's interacting with the primer. Not amazing, but still quite a bit better. Then for the pinks in this look, I'm going to be using the Divinity Palette, and there's a bright fuchsia called Fun Day, and then this pink coral shade called Hooray that I'm starting with. I'm going to use a mixture of the two, and I kind of go back and forth. If I want to add more depth, I add that first Fun Day shade like I'm doing it now. But I usually lay down the slightly more coral one first and then go over it with Fun Day. And you can get pretty creative with your color placement. I'm just kind of hovering on the edges of some of that teal, maybe going in and laying down some more teal, and then popping in more pink just to see how they balance out and interact with each other. And you'll see I'm going here under the eye, and my eyes started leaking. Not good, but pink eyeshadows tend to do that to me sometimes. So I go back and correct this later, but you can see I'm just going back and forth, placing some pink. And then I'm moving a little bit over like of this celestial design, just like Lithium did. And I'm just kind of doing like this little kind of blushy pocket under the other eye. And I'm going in with a clean brush too to blend the edges. Then I'm dipping into the Divinity Palette by OFRA Cosmetics. They've got this gorgeous purple called Quetish. And I'm going to be using that mostly on the crease and lid of the eye. I just think this color interacts well with the pink and the teal. And it gives me a little bit of another color, so I'm just not hovering between those two colors. I also sweep a little bit under the jawline as well too. Then I'll also be using another OFRA Cosmetics palette and a shade called Creep It Real from the Creepy Cute palette. This is an awesome, super pigmented kind of mint shade. And I'm going over a lot of that teal with it because, as you saw, the teal is quite patchy. This brightens up the whole look quite a bit, and it just makes my overall makeup look better because it fills in that patchiness, because Creep It Real is just a really perfect shade for me, personally. And then again, you can see I'm doing a lot of back and forth, adding a bit more of that pink, the little coral and the fuchsia, and kind of merging that into the mint, and just going back and merging colors and blending them together. I'm doing a little cleanup here on the jawline and some blending as well too. Once I have everything about where I want it, I tend to go back in and just merge the colors a lot more to make it look more impactful. Like where the pink meets the teal, it makes a purple, and then I kind of brighten up some areas. I'm going to contour my nose with that pink, and then also add a little bit under my chin. Now for my highlight on this look, I'm using the new Nikki Tutorials Electro Glaze Illuminators from OFRA, and I was sent these through Octoly, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about each shade, but there is a coupon code down below if you wanted to use it to buy them. I don't make money from it, but I just need to mention it. So these two, one is more pink, one is more blue. The first one I'm using is the more pink one called Cloud 9, which has a peachy shift to it. And this one I could imagine wearing every day or night. This one is my favorite of the two. And then the second one, which I'm going to be using on my cheekbone, is more blue. It's called Space Baby, and then it's got a lilac shift to it. So look how impactful those are, and I do go back and add more with this because I couldn't help myself. Then to finish off the other side of my makeup, I'm going back into that carroty palette, and I'm starting with this tan shade called Drunchies. I don't even know what that word means. Then I'm going to be grabbing this shade called Lithunium. I think these are French words, and I took like 2 years of French, so I feel really ashamed for not knowing what's going on. But I'm blending these more, and then bringing those same colors down below on the eye as well too. Now for the actual eyelid, I'm going to be using this Stila glitter metal eyeshadow thingy, and this is a duochrome one called Sea Siren. And I'm going to use it on both sides, but because it's duochrome, what is behind it kind of impacts how it looks, so it almost looks like I used a different eyeshadow on either side, which I thought was cool. Then we're going to be using the Mayron Paradise paint in white and a pretty fine brush, and we're going to be going in and adding these little dots for stars, and I do a ton of this. Then I add a few twinkling stars with just 4 sides. And I don't want to do a lot of these because I want to make room for constellations. And I also do kind of different size stars as I dot all around the face. And you'll notice on some of these I'm tapping it out while it's still wet. That helps me give it a sort of stardust, broken apart in space type of look. I grab a different pointed brush and I begin adding some teeth for my constellation skull. And I do add bottom teeth, but we're going to ignore that now because I removed them later. I ended up not liking them. And when I add my constellation lines, what I'm doing is some semblance of a skull shape. It's only kind of just barely there, so you don't have to fully fill something in, but just kind of hinting at a skull shape built in the constellation. Next, we're going to be adding some of that pink eyeshadow from earlier because I'm playing around with how I want the teeth to be colored. And I go back and forth a lot adding more shading. I'm trying to decide if I want the teeth pink behind them. And I remove a little bit of the bottom teeth because I think my mouth is too wide. So once I correct that with some concealer, I just start adding a little bit more white over those teeth while I figure out what I'm aiming for. And next, you will see me just kind of adding more eyeshadow, more impact to a few select places, just more back and forth and letting it build up as I go. Then to set the more normal parts of my face, I'm going to be using this Laura Mercier translucent setting powder, and this has a matte finish, so it's a good contrast to some of the shimmery colorful we're doing. Then I'm using a really fine brush and white paint, and I'm going around those teeth, so that's going to emphasize the pink shading that I did over the top of them. Then I decided this skull aspect of this look was missing more shading to that bottom jawline, so I removed the teeth and I just kind of opened it up for that shape and started shading accordingly. And I think that is what was bugging me, is I just felt like if I was going to make this a skull, I needed more of that color dragged down, so that's what I did. Once I fill in my constellation to the jaw, I throw on a nude lip combination from Makeup Geek, and next it's time for lashes. And these are ones I was trying from Eye Envy by Kiss, but first I need to line my eyes, so I do that, and then I pop these on. And I forgot that these were ones they sent me that were mink, which is why I probably wouldn't recommend them. I also lined my waterline with Azure by NYX, just because it's a nice contrast to the pink sitting by it. And I couldn't choose what wig to wear, so I showed you all what this white one looked like, and I didn't like it as much as a purple one, so that's what I ended up doing. I also shaded and made like a little nose skull piece that you all would have seen in the intro. I just popped a little bit of teal there, and that looks correct to me for a half skull constellation. Unfortunately, you may notice my forehead got a little less neat from trying on like 3 different wigs, but this is the final look, so I do hope that you all enjoyed this, and I'm glad that I was able to take inspiration from someone whose work I think is very inspiring. So if you like this, then you should definitely check his out because he knows a lot more about a lot of things than I do. Plus, he's just like an elf in human form. So go check out Lithium Snow, and I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.